Hi, in today's video, I'm going to show you how to use relative date in a domain report. That is a report created from Jaspersoft Studio tools. This is not the ad hoc view report created from the Jasper report server ad hoc designer from that web UI. This is a report created from the studio. Okay. In order to use relative date, first of all, we need to create a parameter. In this case, already did. The parameter type need to be a Jasper report specific date range type. And this information is in Jasper Studio user guide under relative date. It explains pretty clearly what you need to do. So in this case, the type should be, because this is a date, it's a date range. Okay, so that is the first thing you need to do, and it's very important. Okay, once we created this date range parameter, we can inject this parameter into the report domain query. So let's go to our report. One more thing I want to point out is the name of the parameter. You want to make this one Java-like, which means you cannot have space in between. If you put space in between, the report will compile everything is okay, except when you run this one Jasper report server using this info control, it will complain about the date format if you want to use a relative date. So I think that is a bug. But so for the time being, you want to make sure you don't put any date in it. When after this report is deployed, you can go in and modify the info control, put a space in there, but it's after that. Okay, so this is the date parm, and let's go to report design. Look at the domain query, and this is domain. Domain query is just few fields. We want to put a filter on this date. So right click on this date fields, add a filter, and make sure you are using is between, because relative date is a date range, it's not a specific date. So we need to specify a starting point and end point. In this case, we want to start at the midnight of current date and 1 minute before next day midnight. Okay, or 1 second, sorry. So the first thing is move your cursor to the start stage, right click to select parameter. Now select new, and you can give any name as long as it makes sense, but don't have to be really elaborate. This is just internal reference. Okay, so I use start. And the method I'm using is from that relative date that user input in order to get the starting point. So this get start from that one is the one I want to use. Okay, we don't need to do anything else. Click on OK, and now go to the end date part, right click, parameter, new, and the method from the user relative date input is, as you guessed it, get end method. Okay. So the same thing, click OK, click OK. Now you can see this filter is injected by these two. So now just click on OK, and you can see these two more parameters are created. But remember, those are hidden parameters. We are not expecting user to accept input value from users. Neither want user to see it. So just make sure you disable this for prompt. So during the deployment, we're not going to create a parameter called start and end. I also notice the date time is not relative date, but rather is a Java utility date. All right. So after this, I think we can deploy the report. I always save it because we want to make sure the copy now we are working on in the JVM, I want to save to the hard drive. Because during the deployment, actually, it is using the copy from the hard drive. Okay. if you run a lot of this instance, sometimes there's a conflict between a copy in the JVM and on the hard drive. So if, as a practice, I always save. But before I publish, I also want to compile, make sure there's no typo or incidental error using some wrong method. So now compile once you see this message. Now we can publish. Well, let's go to our Jaspersoft server repository and publish this under a wiki fork. I already create a directory for today, 25th actually yesterday. Make sure there's no other deployment with the same name. Okay, now it's okay. Want to deploy the input control. Okay, I'm using this domain good. Click on finish. You can see the report is deployed so as the input control. Okay, good. So let's go to our Jasper server side, logging. Go to repository under our folder. Now we can see this is the just deployed report. Before we are running it, let's make a minor change to the input control. Number one, we want to have it always prompt, but in page. So you can see it's rather than a pop-up. Also, we want to change the deploy name for this input control. Just put space in there, and this is the user-facing label. This one is the internal reference to the report template parameter. Okay. Now next, save and save. Now we have a report ready to run. But before we run this report, I want to see, I have a view, happen to have a view against the same domain. I want to see the date range. So we can select one based on the data. So you can see this one against the same source. I want to see because I made the change today. So we should see two records for today's date change. Domain superuser. Okay. So that is good. Let's run our report using the same relative date. Okay, run our domain report. Okay, this is a prompt. Use A is today. Click on apply. We will see those two records. Good. Just to make sure we select today's date, they're supposed to get the same thing. Let's try it. Here you have it. So this is the procedure you can use to create a relative date using domain report created from the Jasper Studio. So a couple of notes I want to make. Make sure you use the relative date, use date range. Also, the reference I was referring to is Jasper Studio user guide under the relative date section. And we have so this is an online copy of it. So you can just directly access this from here. Let me see. Sorry. Get this thing out of the way. Let's see. Yeah. So this is the link and this is the information. It's the same thing as the paper copy earlier I showed you. Okay, so this is all I want to show you in today's video, and give a try and happy testing.